This video is a tutorial of the purchase order feature in Modern PO. We'll go through the basics of the index page, understanding how the PO sequence work, how contacts are connected to purchase order information, how you can add new items, choose from existing ones, create multiple shipping items, multiple tax items, see how purchase order notes are selected, understand the approval process, and see how the status feature is related to the PO. We'll also walk through approvals, shipping, and invoicing. So here from the main screen, you'll see all of the purchase orders that you have within the system. Again, similar to items, the purchase orders that you see depend on the association that you have as a user to a project. So only users associated in this case to this project called W Seattle will see the purchase orders assigned to that project. And you can filter by POs or by project to just see only the purchase orders for that project. You can also search by item ID, supplier, and the project itself. So to add a new purchase order, you'll click the blue button towards the right under New Purchase Order. It'll show you a list of all the projects, again, that you have access to choose from. If this purchase order is not associated to an existing project, you can also choose the No Project option. But for now, let's click on a project that exists in the system, W Seattle. Here it is pre-selected at the top. The PO ID sequence, you can go ahead and just leave that blank, and the system will automatically select the next ID in sequence for that project. So your purchase order IDs will be numbered based on the project code along with the project sequence. Under supplier, choose from your supplier contacts. And again, those are the contacts that are all here under the contacts section. Ship via, choose the supplier. And again, this is coming from your contacts. So if the supplier is the company that, or the shipping company is the supplier or manufacturer direct, you can just leave that blank. But if you're working with a specific shipping company, you can choose that there. Choose where it needs to be shipped to. Again, this is coming from the contacts. Enter your target shipping date, required delivery date. Choose where it's being billed. And again, this is pulling from your contacts, and this can be you as a company with your contact information entered there, or if going direct to a client or paid through a procurement agency, they can be selected here as well under bill to. The terms for that supplier will automatically be filled here under deposit, and they can be overwritten for a particular PO. Here under items, you can enter, if you're entering a purchase order for a brand new item, you can do so here. More likely than not, you'll be pulling from an existing item, so you can just go ahead and click the select item option. It'll show you all the items that, again, you have access to and are in the system. And so now you've pulled that information here. You can do some last minute edits before you send it to the supplier. Quantity, tax information is here. If you're entering individual taxes for each item, you can go ahead and put a percentage, or you can leave it blank, and further down below you'll have the option to add in multiple kinds of taxes. So if it's just a flat, let's say, sales tax that's being provided by and the amount's being provided by the manufacturer, you can enter it here. If you're a wholesaler, you can just go ahead and ignore this blank. Under shipping, if you are tracking that separately within that same purchase, or tracking it within the same purchase order, you can enter the shipping information here as well. You can enter notes that are specific on this purchase order for the supplier. And again, any of the notes that you've entered into the system under organization, you can choose those notes here. Under the approval section, if approvals need to go out to any people within the system, you can choose them here. And they are also invited, or the system will send out approval requests to each of these people in groups. So I can choose 2 people to be in group 1, 1 person to be in group 2, and then when all of group 1 approves that order, then the system will then start sending emails to those in group 2. Here under the status, I can choose from these options of draft, request approval. This is where I can request for those specific groups to submit, provide their approval for the purchase order. Again, the system will send out an email to each of those individuals asking them to approve it. If the PO is ready to send, I choose the ready to send option. And then once it's sent to the supplier, I can just go ahead and click here under sent to supplier. So now my purchase order has been created. Here's my information that I can review, all of my notes. I added myself here as an approver, so I can go ahead and approve this PO. If I want to download a PDF, I can click on the download option and the system will generate a PDF document. Here under the Invoices tab is where I can enter both invoices and payments on orders. Under Shipping is where I enter my expediting information. For clients that are tracking receiving to the final stage, you can also track individual receiving of each item on the order and identify things that have been damaged, and also, of course, track the actual receiving date, associate the receiving to the actual shipment that it's coming from. And then here under Messages is where you can keep an entire communication log with a supplier. So instead of putting this information within emails, this is all dialogue that happens between you as the purchasing company who's purchasing the items and the supplier regarding the order. Back here under the items themselves, when you've marked something as ready to send, choose that here. Go to purchase orders. You'll find it here under ready to send. And then from here, be able to choose and message the supplier. The supplier will receive the purchase order as a link, and they'll be able to click and again see all of the purchase order information and have the option to download. Suppliers also have the ability to accept the purchase order, and that will be notify you that the supplier has not just seen the order but has accepted all of the terms that are part of the order. And this is the overview of the purchase order feature in Modern PO.